Hello, welcome back to Animated Literacy. This is lesson number 6 from the Story, Song, and Action book. And in this lesson, we're going to be reviewing our sounds, and then we're going to be introducing Dr. Ollie Ostrich. So to start out with, how many of you remember what we do for Polly Panda? Put your paintbrush up in the air, put your paper out in front, and paint up and down and go, "Are you painting? Are you painting? Polly Panda, Polly Panda." Polly's bells are saying, Polly's bells are saying, ping pong ping, ping pong ping. Consonant, how do you know? Hers is like the farmer. It needs a partner with an ing and an ong. What do we do for Uncle Upton? I like the way you're pointing up. Ready? Are you upside down? Are you upside down? Uncle Upton, Uncle Upton. Uncle's bells are saying, Uncle's bells are saying, Owl, how do you know? It's like the cheese, it stands alone. You remember what to do for Sadie Seal? You can show me surfing, with body surfing, surfing on a surfboard, swimming in front of the wave. Are you surfing and swimming? Are you surfing and swimming? Sadie Seal, Sadie Seal. Sadie's bells are saying, Sadie's bells are saying, sing song sing, sing song sing. Consonant, it has a partner. What's Eve doing? Here she is leaping over 3 green trees, and as she leaps she goes, ee, over the trees. Are you leaping? Are you leaping? Sister Eve, Sister Eve. Eve's bells are saying, Eve's bells are saying, E, 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 E. Vowel, how do you know? Oh, Eve's sound stands alone, just like the cheese. Here's Mimi Mermaid. What do we do for Mimi? Are you moving a magic mop? Are you moving a magic mop? Mimi Mermaid, Mimi Mermaid. Mimi's bells are saying, Mimi's bells are saying, Ming mong ming, Ming mong ming. Now we want to do lots of review in animated literacy because, again, information happens in the brain through assimilation, and that takes time. And we want this information to become automatic and to go into the unconscious memory system. So in order to do that, we have to do a lot of repetition and a lot of playing with those sounds. So as I talked about earlier, one way to review is just like you would with a bedtime story. So we have our book of songs and stories to read, and you can either read them directly out of here, or you can duplicate and laminate them as I've done here, and then they can go into the classroom library so that the kids can pick it up and first retell the story by memorizing, and then as they become more and more proficient in word recognition, they can start to actually read that story. Or you can take out the sequence cards and you can go through those, and the kids can tell you what's happening in sequence, and you can then mix up those cards at a later time, and the kids can put them back in order, and then they can tell you what's happening in each of those sequence cards. So now we're going to go into our new story for today. Before I do that, let me mention a couple things about mistakes and creativity. I'm sure you've noticed that I'm not perfect when I'm presenting the information here. All of these lessons are unscripted and unedited. So when I listen to them back, there's usually 1 or 2 sentences that are cringeworthy where I've said the wrong word. And unless they're too terrible, I haven't gone back and re-recorded them. Because when I'm working with children, I need to model risk-taking, and I need to model that it's okay to make mistakes. So I want you to just enjoy playing with these. Now, if you can, my favorite way to do these is to learn the story well enough myself that I can tell it, and then I can embellish it and play with it and make it out as outrageous and crazy as possible. And these stories, once again, are meant to have a lot of novelty, because novelty is what stimulates the brain and stimulates the memory system. That goes back to our really old primitive brain, and you can observe this in animals, where when we come home in the afternoon, the first thing our dog does is come in the house and check to see is everything exactly as it was when she left it, because going back to our primitive brain, you're constantly looking to see, is something out of place? Because if it is, that might pose a danger for you. And so we still have that, even though many of the things that we're doing are not life and death kinds of situations. So have fun with the stories. And I remember when our daughter was little, when I would go into her bedroom to tuck her in, I would always give her a choice. I'd go, do you want me to tell you a story, or do you want me to read you a story? And sometimes she asked me to read a story, and then I read it out of a book. We didn't have the book of animated literacy stories yet. So when she chose a story, it was from a library book, and she had a pretty comprehensive library in her bedroom. If she chose for me to tell a story, then I did one of the character stories. Now that we have the picture book of stories to read, I can tell the stories the first time, and I can repeat them if I choose to. Then I can come back to those stories and read them over and over and over again. And it only takes a couple minutes to read through those stories. And then children will learn that when I'm telling a story, it may not always sound the same, but when I read it from a book, it's going to sound the same day after day. So today we're going to be learning about a new friend, and this is Dr. Ollie Ostrich. And Dr. Ollie Ostrich is very much like the doctor that you might go to. And we have a book here that tells us a bit about doctors. And this is called My Doctor, and it is written by Harlow Rockwell. And as you read through this story, you'll find a lot of factual information about doctors. Here it says, at my doctor's surgery, it is clean and very bright. She has a sink to wash her hands. And you can point to the pictures and talk about the various things that you might find in a doctor's office. There is a scale to weigh me, and here's the scale you would stand on and look up at the top to see how much you weigh, and to measure how tall I've grown. My doctor has a stethoscope, and this is called a stethoscope. She listens to my heart beating and my lungs breathing while I take a big breath. And so I could read either this entire book, or I could stop there. Because it's expository text, it's not going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Whereas if I read in a narrative text, it's going to have a beginning and a middle and an end. In my story, we have a doctor, and we also have eggs. And so green eggs and ham, it would be a favorite Dr. Seuss story that we could use here. And here it reads like this. That Sam I am, that Sam I am. I do not like that Sam I am. Do you like green eggs and ham? I do not like them, Sam I am. I do not like green eggs and ham. And all of these very early Dr. Seuss books are really good to read to the kids, see if you can add some gestures and have them repeat it back to you and gesture it back to you after you've read it. So now Dr. Ollie Ostrich is a very unique kind of doctor, because he doesn't take care of humans the way it was done in our storybook about the doctor. Instead, he has special friends that he takes care of, and one of the friends that he takes care of is an octopus. What does an octopus have that's special? He's got all of these legs. How many legs does an octopus have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 legs on an octopus. How many legs do you have? Well, you only have 2 legs. And here's another friend of our octopus. He also likes to take care of otters. And here's an otter, and they live in the water, and they like floating around on their backs like this and eating while they're floating. And another friend that Dr. Ollie takes care of is very big. It's called an ox. And so here's one of the oxen that Dr. Ollie takes care of. Now, whenever one of his friends starts to feel like it's got a very sore throat, he's going to go to the Dr. Ollie Ostrich and say, I can't talk, my throat hurts. And so Dr. Ollie Ostrich, just like many doctors, is going to take out his stick, And he's going to take that stick and he's going to point it at their mouth. And what is he going to ask them to say? Open wide and say, ah. And so he looks down in their throat, and if he sees that it's kind of red and looks like it doesn't feel very good, then he's going to work at fixing that. But Dr. Ollie Ostrich doesn't operate on people. Instead, Dr. Ollie Ostrich operates on olives. So he takes out a special olive, and he gets out his special surgeon's knife that is called a scalpel, and he opens up the olive. Then he goes over and he gets some special secret potion, and he takes that potion and he puts it into the olive. Then he gets out his omelet pan, and this is a special pan called an omelet pan because I can take and open it up, and then I can close it and I can flip the omelet over while it's cooking on the stove. And inside our omelet pan is the egg, and here Dr. Ollie might take and open up green eggs, just like in green eggs and ham, and put those into the omelet pan. Then he's going to put the olive into the omelet pan, close it up, cook it on one side, turn it over and cook it on the other side, and then take out the omelet and feed it to his patients. And so here's Dr. Ollie Ostrich with his special omelet pan. And when his patients get fed the omelet, they all feel better, and they go dancing out of his office, and they start to sing a special song to him. For Ollie's a jolly good fellow, for Ollie's a jolly good fellow, for Ollie's a jolly good fellow, we love his omelets. So you could practice singing that song a bit. So now whenever you see Dr. Ollie Ostrich, or you see his special letter O, or he also has 3 other ways to spell his sound. He can spell it with an AU, with an AL, like in ball, or he could spell it with an AW, like in saw. So whenever you see Ollie, or one of his ways of spelling his sound, pretend like you're at Dr. Ollie's office. Pretend like this is his tongue depressor. Open your mouth wide and go, ah. So now if we put Dr. Ollie into Forever Jacques, it's going to sound like this. Are you a doctor? Are you a doctor? Ollie Ostrich, Ollie Ostrich. Ollie's bells are saying, Ollie's bells are saying, ah, 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 ah. Now Dr. Ollie has a special song, just like all of our characters, and his song has motions. So let's warm up our muscles and see if you can sing his song back to me. First, an ostrich has a big long neck like this. So take your neck and stretch it up as long as you can so that you can try to be like an ostrich with this huge long neck. So everybody go, Ollie Ostrich, Ollie Ostrich. Oops, I was doing the wrong song there. So let's try that again. His song goes just like Polly Panda to sailing, sailing. So it should be like this. Ollie Ostrich, Ollie Ostrich. Ollie says, say ah. Ollie says, say ah. To the otter. And an otter often puts a shellfish on its chest, and then it can take a rock and it can try to open that shellfish so it can eat it. So we're going to show an otter by putting the shell on and then hitting it like this so that we can eat what's inside, okay? So let's go back and start over again. Ready? Ollie Ostrich, Ollie Ostrich. Ollie says, say ah. Ollie says, say ah. To the otter. Now an ox has those big horns, so we'll put our horns out. And the ox, and the ox. Now an octopus has those arms that are going all over the place like this. And to the octopus. Now how can you make Dr. Ollie Ostrich's big O with your fingers and thumbs and hands, or you could use your whole body? And I see one person does it like this and another does it like this. So you can make your O any way you like. O's for Ollie. Now pretend like this is your scalpel. Pretend like this is your olive, and you're going to operate on it. Ollie operates. on olives for, now show me how good an omelet tastes, his omelets, and offers them to all, and offers them to all. Now let's see if you can remember those motions. And this time I'm going to put on the recording of Dr. Ollie Ostrich and see if you can sing and gesture it while I point to the words. So stretch your neck up. Ollie Ostrich, Ollie says, say ah. To the otter and the ox, and to the octopus. O's for Ollie, Ollie operates on olives for his omelets, and offers them to all. What's our sound for Ollie Ostrich? Ah. Okay, so now all of the children would be given a picture of Ollie Ostrich. So on this page, that's from the Story, Song, and Action book, here's Dr. Ollie Ostrich, and here's the otter that he's taking care of, and the otter's bringing him that secret potion to put inside the olives. And then here's Dr. Ollie's song, and here's Dr. Ollie's gesture. So you can take out your crayons and rainbow write over all the different ways to spell Ollies Sound. And then when you're finished, turn your paper over on the back and think of something from your life that is similar to Ollie. You might draw me a picture of a doctor you have been to and what the doctor did in his office. Or you might draw me a picture of some kind of egg dish that you like to eat. And then after you've drawn your picture, you can either write a sentence about your picture, or you can wait for me and I'll come and write the sentence, and then you can read it back to me and then trace over the top of it with a pencil or write it down underneath. So tomorrow when we come back, I'm going to ask you some questions about Dr. Ollie Ostrich again, so remember to think about his story and practice singing his song. And I will see you in our next session.